All right, students, here we go. Tutorial video 3. So at this point, you should have your document open, and if you're transitioning to this from the text tutorial, it should look exactly like mine. So you should have your text box down here. Make sure it's nice and aligned, along with the headline with your name. So this video is going to go a little quicker because all we're going to do is add two elements, pictures and slideshows. To do that, okay, there's a couple ways that we can do that. So over here, there are two new icons that we're going to go over. The first one's called image, and the second one is called slideshow. So we're going to create an image first. So when I click it, you can either upload it here or select from library. We're going to select from library because what you're going to find is that everything that we use, we're going to put into a library, a digital library, like a cloud storage, where we can go ahead and grab it. Okay, that's one way to put a picture in, right here. Okay, clicking that picture icon. The other way is to go to the actual library. Okay, and when you're in here, you'll notice a big folder called DMP tutorial files, and we have the different pictures in here. Okay, so this is actually, the library is where you're going to actually add photos to. So throughout our projects, okay, when we get to the first print issue, you can see this is the print issue 1 from last semester. There's a lot of documents that we had to use, okay, and we uploaded it here. So let's go ahead, and that's just a quick introduction to the library. Let's go ahead and actually add an image using the image toolbar. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to select from library, go to the DMP tutorial files, and let's go ahead and select the lighthouse picture. Okay, so I'm going to hit select on that and add to page. Okay, and it'll add it nice and big. Okay, so what we're going to do with this is resize it, manipulate it. The one good thing about Joomag is that it does allow you to crop it, and it does allow you to shrink it, but it doesn't change what's called the aspect ratio. That means it's not going to compress it or make it really wide and make it look all distorted. Okay, so for those that are familiar with InDesign. So at this point, notice though, I'm going to go back over here. Okay, if I have the picture selected, there's a lot of options here. It can align it. Okay, so I'm going to start talking about these alignments now. Up here, I want it in the top corner here, and I'm going to actually expand it down and make it look pretty good. So what I can do is align it to the left. Look at that, it snaps it right to the left, and I can align it to the top. Look at that. So I use those functions there to align it to different places. If I wanted to go in the center, I could do that. That's the center of the page, top, left, middle. So all of these options are really nice to snap it once you are done manipulating the photo. So for this one, for this lighthouse, there's a couple other options that you do need to know. Up here is the crop. See this little kind of square icon? If I click it, it turns into this little new blue icon. Let me zoom in on it so you can see. And I can basically crop it so I only want a certain portion. So anything that fades out is not going to be shown. So here's, say I want to go ahead and look at just the lighthouse. I don't want the rock. So I can crop it, and I can move this picture within that box. And when I click out, watch what happens. Hey, the rest of the picture disappears. So only this portion exists. So here's where I want you to do. So I'm going to finish this part here and then let you manipulate and try this out. I'm going to zoom out. Let's get our picture to look, here, let's do this. Let's zoom out a little bit more. Okay, let's get our picture to look like this size, and I want you to zoom in or crop in on that part of the lighthouse. Okay, so remember, you're going to click this. Notice anything gray disappears or faded disappears. So you're going to manipulate this box to make it look like this. All right, align it to the top and the left. So I'm going to hit left, and I'm going to hit top, and it's perfectly stamped up there, as you can see on my document. All right, so pause this video if needed, but get your document to look like mine so far. Okay, get your document to look like mine. All right, I'm going to continue here. Okay, so what you should notice here is that I got this snapped up here. My text box is still here. I made a major edit, so I'm going to hit save. Okay, Now I'm going to add a slideshow. A slideshow, exactly as it says, means that you can add multiple pictures. So I'm going to go to the slideshow element right here, and I'm going to go to select from library, and I'm going to select the penguins, okay, and I'm going to select the Derby Dragon logo. Now, if you keep clicking, it's just going to click one at a time. So there's two ways you can go ahead and select both of them, okay? The best way is to hold down Shift on your keyboard, select the penguins, then select the Derby Dragon. Notice it'll say two selected, okay? I believe on some computers, Control will also work. So you can hold down Shift, select each, or hold down Control, select each. So I selected two files. Let's go to Select. And then here, it's going to ask you to put a title and description for each one. And also notice that as I'm scrolling over it, a little X appears. You can get rid of it if I don't want it, or you can click this to drag it and rearrange it, okay? So I want you to rearrange it with the Derby Dragon logo first and the penguins underneath. And after that, there's a couple options down here. So the transition duration is how many seconds do you want it to show. So 3 seconds is fine. You can change that, adjust it. Transition, dissolve, fade, slide in, slide out. Right? And then image mode is crop or fit. Now crop means that it's going to fit to the box that you create. Fit means that no matter what the size of the box, it will always show the full picture. Okay? So usually we want it in fit mode so we see the full picture, but sometimes that can make it look a little distorted too. So let's stick with crop for our purposes of our tutorial, and when we create our actual paper, you'll notice that there's different options. So for title, I'm going to go ahead and caption this real quick. I'm just going to call this logo, and let's call this penguins. So go ahead and do that. Don't forget, pause the video as needed. Okay, pause the video as needed to catch up as I'm talking. So let's hit add to page, and there it is. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this up here, and notice I'm going to zoom in because it's really hard to see. It'll start flipping and going through the slideshow. I'm going to adjust it, align it to the right and the top, and then move this so it's perfectly aligned to the side picture. Look at that. Now it looks pretty good. And because I use crop mode, notice it fits the entire box. So even though it crops out a little bit of the Derby logo, that's okay. I'm basically just putting the crop right there. So at this point, okay, this wraps up the major elements of adding slideshow and pictures, okay? I'm going to zoom out here. Your job is to, okay, before navigating to the next tutorial, make sure your document looks exactly like this, okay? The last thing we're going to, last video is going to go over adding a video element and adding shapes to go ahead and enhance our document. All right, save, okay, rewatch as needed.